Hey guys, Rebecca Wise here with Lularoerebeccawise, and today I became a consultant. Yay, finally. It was a very long journey, very difficult, stressful journey. And so I wanted to make this video now that I'm finally through it, to talk about onboarding for the financially challenged. If you're thinking about becoming a consultant, or if you're in the queue and you're not sure how you're going to come up with the money, and typical methods of credit cards and loans are out of the question, there's definitely some things that you can do to still raise the money. It's not the end of the world, but there are definitely a lot of things that you can do to raise that money. And so I want to talk about those things, and my journey of how I was able to sort of think outside the box and come up with some ideas on fundraising and what I could do. And in the end, I made it. I tell you, I could do a happy dance. so, so I just wanted to tell you a little bit about that. So, a little bit about me and my journey. My husband and I decided we wanted to do LuLaRoe after a friend of the family had some success selling it for the last month or two. She hadn't been doing it very long, but she was very successful right away. And so he came to me one day after I had already mentioned to him. He completely blew me off. He came to me today and he said, we might need to think about doing this because she's making a lot of money. And we were in a financial position where, we're living paycheck to paycheck. We just didn't have any extra money. I mean, most weeks it's like, can you pay the electric bill? Because I'm kind of tapped out. So we really needed the money to just give us a little bit of room. And that's my why of why I'm trying to do this is, my husband and I, we never got to take a honeymoon because we didn't have the money. We haven't had date night. I can't even remember when. We don't go anywhere. We don't do anything. We don't go out to dinner. We just don't have the money. And we have a 2-year-old, so, diapers and all of that, daycare, is really very expensive. So we really needed the money. And I just wanted to be able to give my family a little bit of more of comfort. We wanted to be able to go on a vacation together, and we wanted to be able to go out to dinner when we wanted to go out to dinner, and give our daughter the things that we wanted to buy for her, but just couldn't. And it just became a struggle. So we decided that we just had to do LuLaRoe. We needed the money, and I loved the clothes. Don't get me wrong. I have the leggings. Love, love, love them. In fact, I've pretty much worn holes in them all. But we decided to do that because, we needed some more financial freedom. It was very stressful on us, on our marriage, on our family, and just didn't make life very much fun. We just didn't have any money. So, so we started out, as I think everybody does, looking at, can I get a credit card? Can I get limit increase on the credit cards I have? We do have some credit cards. Unfortunately, they didn't have the money that we needed on there, nowhere near it. My 401k, I had cashed out last year for some other expenses, and so that money was no longer available to me. I wish I had known about LuLaRoe. I would have saved the money for that, but so those two avenues weren't available. We literally applied for every credit card you can think of. Every credit card. I don't think there's one out there that we didn't apply for. And we tried to get credit limit increases. We approached every company about doing a personal loan. Our bank, loans that say, oh, we bad credit, no problem, that sort of thing. Nobody would approve us. No, nobody, nothing. So we had no options for that, which is typically when you watch, do some research on this and the other YouTube videos, that's pretty much what they talk about. Oh, go get yourself a 0% interest credit card, get yourself a personal, ask your family member. Well, that's all well and good. And if you can do that, more power to you. Unfortunately, we were not in that position. And family members, they didn't have $5,000. I wish I knew people who had $5,000 just laying about, but none of us did. So that was not an option for us. So we had to think outside the box and think about what could we do to raise this money. I had 2 pairs of leggings and an Irma. I can't sell that. I mean, what am I going to get from that? I'm not going to get $5,000. So that was out of the question. That was another option that I had seen quite often. Another option was selling stuff, just, stuff you have laying about the house. Well, I'm not a pack rat. Unfortunately, I like to purge pretty often. So I have yard sales all the time. So I really didn't have anything to get rid of. I did end up in the end, and I'll get to this later, I ended up coming up with some stuff for my daughter that was, it was baby stuff that she had outgrown. So it did have some of those things to sell, but we didn't really have things to sell. So we weren't going to make money that way. So I really had to get creative. And, my sponsor initially had suggested to me maybe that I try crowdfunding, like GoFundMe or Kiva or one of those other places. Kiva, I went through their entire long process and they denied me to even get into crowdfunding. So I couldn't even get to the point where people were allowed to bid or give me money. And then the GoFundMe didn't go anywhere. If you have friends and family who want to give you money, maybe, small amounts, then a GoFundMe might be a great thing for you, and you might get a good portion of your onboarding from that. But that was not an option for me. So, what else could I do? So then I had to really think about, well, what'll make me some money? I don't know. Pretty creative. I pretty much make everything. I don't like to buy stuff if I can make it. I was always raised to be creative, sewing and crafting, and so that's always my fallback. So if you're creative, that's definitely something you can lean on. So my first inclination was, well, let me see, what can I sell? What can I make and sell pretty easy that's not a huge investment? Because, I didn't have the money to do LuLaRoe. I certainly didn't have, money to be throwing at something to sell that maybe I sold and maybe I didn't. So, so I decided, I looked on Etsy and looked at what some of the other people were selling. And I noticed that there was a big, I just completely had a brain fart. There's a big following for LuLaRoe stuff. Mugs and tumblers and all kinds of stuff. So I thought, okay, well, I can make that stuff. I'm really crafty. I can do that. So, but I wanted to do something nobody else was doing, because then I figure, well, then I have a better chance of selling a lot of it. So I decided to do coasters. Everybody needs coasters. You gotta drink, you gotta put it on a coaster. So I took some LuLaRoe memes, fun ones, and I created ceramic coasters out of them. Very nice coasters, I must say. And I put those, I advertised those on the Facebook groups, consultant groups, buy-sold trade groups, the Q groups, and on Etsy and Mercari. That's how you say it, Mercari. And I did get a lot of response. For the first 2 days, my phone was blowing up. I probably I would say the first 2 days I sold like 300 coasters in 2 days, which, if you ever had to make a coaster, is a lot of coasters. And then it sort of trickled off, and I was getting like one order every couple of days. So really for the 1 week, I think I ended up, I can't remember how many I sold. It was a lot of coasters. It was so many coasters. I never want to see a coaster again. But we ended up selling about $1,000, making $1,000 in sales in coasters. And then after expenses, it was about $500 in profit. So that was $500 towards my $5,000, which, after the effort that got put into it, seemed like I'm never going to get there. I mean, for about 2.5, 3 weeks, we basically didn't sleep. My husband and I did not sleep. We made coasters. Pretty much around the clock. We turned our kitchen and dining room into a coaster assembly line and recruited family to come and make coasters. But we had a lot of coasters to make. And so in the end, we made about, like I said, about $500 in profit from that. But it trickled off. I kept advertising it. I tried different tactics, and no one seemed to really want it after that. It was like it had this big boom, and then it was done. So then I thought, okay, well, what else can I make? I mean, this clearly went pretty well. People are interested in LuLaRoe stuff. So then I branched out and I did a canvas tote. Unicorn Hunter tote. So it had a really cool unicorn on it, hand painted, with Unicorn Hunter hand painted on it, and they were super cute. I was actually pretty proud of myself. And I sold a few of those. I would say maybe I sold 20, not too many. So that didn't really work. So then I tried t-shirts, and then I tried mugs, and I want to say I tried something else as well. But didn't really get anywhere. I mean, the coasters was the big deal. So I think all in all, we probably made $600 total from all of that, which is great. Don't get me wrong. Totally great. I mean, $600 is $600 I didn't have before. So, but it was a lot of work. And unfortunately, when you don't have the credit and you don't have the money, you're going to have to work for it. And you're going to have to work really hard. So that was for probably the first 3-4 weeks. And everything kind of stalled out. So then I thought, okay, well, what am I going to do now? I still got a lot of money to raise, and not very much time to do it. So I think the next thing was I was at my daughter's daycare, and the daycare director said, well, hey, we had a fundraiser for the daycare a couple of years ago, and one of the parents contacted some of the local storage unit places and got them to donate storage units that got left behind or repossessed, whatever you want to call them. And then, and she's like, we made $1,000 selling just the stuff out of those storage units. And I thought, $1,000? That's a lot of money, and I don't want to work as hard. So what I did was I called all the local storage areas in the area, storage units in the area, and a lot of them turned me down. I'm just gonna say. But I did have a couple that were like, yeah, absolutely. I've got 4, I think one of the places that I got 4 units, and I need them cleaned out by the end of the week. Can you come right now and clean them out? I don't know about you, but I don't have a truck, and I don't have a trailer to tow. So you end up having to rent like a box truck or a U-Haul, which in the grand scheme is not very expensive, especially if you don't have far to go. I think they're maybe $30 for the day plus some mileage, so maybe you spend $40. But it was all free stuff. They were packed full, so that's definitely an option. So I did that, and then I did my own little version of Storage Wars, and I went to some storage auctions in the area, and bid on some units. And surprisingly, it's just like Storage Wars. I'm just gonna be honest, but the money is not the same. I mean, those people pay thousands of dollars, and I think, you know, the highest of the sales that I went to, someone paid $300, but most of the stuff goes for like 50, $60. So you get a whole storage unit full of stuff for like $60. I mean, you can't beat that. So that's an avenue. And it was a lot of fun too. I'm just gonna be honest. Another thing that I did to get some free stuff was I put an ad out on the Facebook groups, the local like yard sale Facebook groups, and said, hey, I'm looking for yard sale donations. If you have some stuff you just want to get rid of that you've been meaning to take to Goodwill, I'll come pick it up for you. So I was able to get a few things that way. You know, I let people know that I was having a yard sale fundraiser, and I had a lot of people who were just like, well, what charity is it? Well, not really a charity, unless you consider me a charity, which I do. But it's not for a charity. And people were like, I don't think I want to give you my stuff if it's not for a charity. And, you know, truly, I was just trying to get stuff that they just didn't want, that they were just going to either throw away or donate to Goodwill. So I wasn't trying to, like, you know, get them to give me money or stuff. But I did get a good response from it. And then I also, I sent an email through Craigslist to people who were having moving sales. And with a moving sale, these are people who are moving. They need to get rid of their stuff. And oftentimes you see in the ad, you know, moving on Monday, gotta get rid of my stuff today. So I would send them an email and I'd say, you know, hey, I hope your moving sale goes really well. If you have anything left over that you just need to get rid of, just, you know, contact me and I'll come get it. So I had a really good response from that. I got so much stuff. It was exhausting. I was going to pick up things in the middle of the night. But I had a huge amount of stuff. In fact, half of it is still on my front porch. So if you want some stuff and you're local, come on over and I'll give it to you. But so then what I did was I took all this stuff that I had accumulated, and I had a big yard sale fundraiser. And I raised a lot of money. I'm just going to tell you now that the big things, the furniture, those sorts of things, that's what's going to bring you the most. So if you can score some free stuff that's furniture and whatnot, grab it. Another thing I did also was on, you know, Craigslist has a free page. So people are always posting stuff. Hey, I'm curb alert. I'm throwing this stuff out. Come get it. So I would troll it. I would stalk that page like, you know, I'd be refreshing it every 5 minutes. It was kind of crazy, but I was desperate and I was going to get this stuff and I was going to sell it and make some money. So what you do is you just, as soon as something pops up for sale, I kind of, if somebody says, oh, it's, you know, for parts or it's broken, I didn't bother. No one's going to buy something at a yard sale and I was just going to end up with it sitting on my yard in my porch. So, and you know, if people were getting rid of couches or something like that, you know, if it was all ripped up or really badly stained, I didn't, because I mean, I probably could have gotten rid of it, but it would have been a tough sell. So people that were getting rid of things that, you know, maybe it just had, you know, it was just worn, it was just old. Definitely those are great things to get. If you have a truck or a trailer that you can tow behind or whatever, this is an amazing option for you. Certainly you don't have to have that. I have a Jeep, and I went and I packed my Jeep so full of stuff every single time. Literally, I had this much room in the car. I'm driving like this because there was not 1 inch of space in my Jeep that was not filled with stuff. And I had multiple carloads like that. So you can get a lot of great stuff. people just have stuff they just want to get rid of. You know, people have got clutter they just want to toss, you know. And you are a great beneficiary of that. So definitely that is an amazing option. I would highly recommend that. And when you have the sale, sell it. If somebody makes you an offer, sold. Bye. Take it away. If you're too picky, and I was a little too picky on a couple of things, people either aren't going to buy it and then you're going to be stuck with it, or you're going to end up haggling with them. I sold a lot of stuff, and I made a lot of money, and it was all free. So the only cost to me was the gas to go pick it up and my time. And if you're doing a storage unit, or they have an enormous amount of stuff, I had a lady who said, oh, I've been accumulating stuff for like 3 years, and to do a fundraiser for our church, yard sale fundraiser for the church, and it never happened. I have a whole barn full of stuff. You gotta bring a box truck and take it away. But you gotta take it all. Free stuff. I mean, absolutely. You gotta tell me twice. So maybe you have to rent a U-Haul. It's $40 in the end between the fee and the mileage stuff. As long as it's not too far away. I wouldn't go too far away because you gotta haul that, man. It's just, it's a lot of work. I mean, it's free stuff, but it's still work. So, certainly I would, you know, keep that as a really good option. And that's what I did. And in the end, I made a lot of money from that. So, but I didn't make everything. So I'm going to be honest with you. In the end, we were very close. And we had my husband, in the end, we started to become desperate. Because I got my call, and we still were not close to having the money. And we were in a financial position where if we didn't onboard soon, we were probably going to have to start losing stuff. So, so we were pretty desperate. So my husband was able to get a loan from his boss, which is an unusual circumstance. I do not recommend asking your boss for money. However, it's a different kind of business, and his boss had given some personal loans to some coworkers who were in situations before. So we were able to get a little bit of money that way. And then we also did something that I do not recommend, but we were kind of desperate, so it was worth it to us in the end. But in the end, to come up with the last little bit, we ended up not paying some bills, putting them off. And certainly, again, not something I recommend. But if you're super desperate and you're so close that you can just taste it, sometimes it's the easier option. But you want to exhaust every resource before you do that. There was somebody that I know that basically didn't pay their mortgage for 3 months so that they could onboard. Definitely don't recommend that. That's not good. You don't want to go that way. So there are a lot of options, and what also saved us in the end, something you may or may not know, the onboarding package fluctuates, and it fluctuates without notice. So do be aware of that. It was a point of great frustration for us, because when I submitted my paperwork, the amount was, I want to say it was like $5,300. And then when I finally got my call, it was $5,100. And we didn't have the money, but we were close. So we got that last little bit of money, and right as I was about to onboard, do my onboard call, they raised it up to like $5,400. You can imagine the frustration when you are that close and you have struggled for so long to get that money and you're so excited because you get to onboard, and then they raise the money. It's tough. But they're not going to do anything for you. So I'm just going to let you know that now. So we had to sort of regroup and figure out what we were going to do. But there was a lot of people complained about the sudden and large increase. And so, thankfully, a few days later, they dropped it about $500. So it was, then it became right underneath $5,000. So we then had the money. And I tell you what, I never called so fast in my life because I was like, don't change it. Because I finally have the money. So I was able to onboard today. So after everything that we've been through, it was so stressful. A lot of sleepless nights. And just a lot of stress in general, a lot of emotion. It is definitely an emotional thing, especially when you don't have the money, because that's probably something you're struggling with all the time. So it becomes compounded. So just, don't give up. Trust me, I wanted to give up so many times. And I was thinking, there's no way. There's no way I'm going to make it. It's, when you're only at $500, so you're $4,000 away, it seems daunting. And when you're $500 away and you don't have the money, it's even more daunting because you're just like, I'm so close. I just need that money. And but I was determined that if I had to beg, borrow, and steal, I was going to get that money, and I was going to onboard, and no one was going to stop me. And I fought for it. I fought, and I worked really, really hard to get it. So it's not an easy journey. Hopefully, if you go into this, you have a really great sponsor who is going to hold your hand and give you encouragement and help you, because it's a lot more stressful for those of us who are financially challenged than it is for the other girls who can go and get that 0% interest credit card and just like, oh yeah, I can onboard whenever they call. Yay, I'm excited. I was always, I'm sorry to say, a little bit resentful sometimes, but, and that's not how you want to be, but it's just hard. It's hard when you're struggling and trying to do it and you see it coming so easy to other people. I think we all can relate to that. So since I've been rambling forever, let me get down to the nitty gritty. So there are a lot of things that you can do to raise the money. A lot of things that I talked about and that I did for myself. But certainly there are a lot more things that I didn't do that I thought of. So I just wanted to go over some things and encourage you to find the things that you can do to raise the money to onboard. Because there is a way. I guarantee you there is a way. And you can do it. But it's just not going to be easy. I'm going to tell you that now. So the first thing I want you to do is you're going to have to brainstorm. You're going to have to dig deep and you're going to have to find and figure out what talents do you have that you can exploit. So think about, what are you good at? What's your hidden talent? For me, I'm creative. I can sew. I love to make things. I'm just very creative, very talented in that way. So I was able to use that partially to raise some of the funds. And certainly that's something that you can do too. So perhaps maybe you're not creative. Maybe you like to bake. That's a great one. I almost resorted to that. I'm actually a very good baker as well. And I almost did some bake sales and some other things. But in the end, I didn't have to do that. But certainly that would have been a great way to raise some money. Fall festivals or little community events where they accept vendors. You can go and sell baked goods or anything you make for that matter. So I just have some notes. So you can make things. Oftentimes there's some sort of skill that you have that you can market. Whether that is you're good with woodworking, or maybe you're a good artist, maybe you have graphic design skills. A lot of these are artsy. I guess I have a left brain or right brain, whatever they want to call it. But certainly there's skills that you can do. Are you good with children? Maybe you can do some babysitting services, or there's so many things that you can do. If you have some skills with like Excel or web design, or I don't know, maybe you're a great typer. Who knows? Maybe you're a good writer. You can do some copywriting, or some editing, creating blog articles. That's something that even my company hires out for. There's a lot of good websites called like freelancer.com, guru.com. Those are ones where you can go and people are looking for someone to do, just that kind of work, Excel work. Maybe you speak a foreign language and you can do some translation work. There's all kinds of things. There's also another website, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of it. But basically, it allows you to do odd jobs for people in your area. It only serves the larger markets, Chicago, Seattle, Miami, I think like Houston, some of the larger cities. It was not available for me in Raleigh, but certainly, if you're in a larger city, that is a definite option. And those were things like, come walk my dog, come buy, come get my groceries, come run my errands, that sort of thing. So those are definitely things that you can do to make some money. Also, if you're in a large area, something you can do is utilize some of the resources you have. Like if you have a car, you can drive for Uber or Lyft. That's usually something you do in a bigger metropolitan area. That is something that people in Raleigh do. I have a friend that does Uber, but you don't make as much money in the smaller cities as you do in the larger metropolitan cities. So certainly if you're in Chicago or Seattle, Miami, those sorts of places, I would definitely look into that because you can make some good money. If you're in a smaller city like Raleigh or maybe Baltimore or something like that, you can make money, but it's usually just weekends. So if you work full time and you just want something to do on the side, then certainly you could do some Uber driving and make some money that way. But everybody has a talent. Whether you know it or not, you have a talent and you can utilize it to make money. So you just have to figure out what that talent is and how you can turn it into cash. And then, like I was saying, use your resources. Do you have a car? You got a lawnmower? Maybe you got a pressure washer? Or maybe you can paint. Hey, that's a good talent. There's a lot of things that you can do to make money. I was going to pressure wash houses because we have a pressure washer. And again, didn't come to that. But certainly that is something that you can do. And they make pretty good money, so you can clean somebody's house. Go around the neighborhood and pass out flyers and say, hey, I'll clean one room for $100. I'd be down for that. Mowing somebody's lawn. Everybody wants their lawn mowed, and they don't want to pay a gazillion dollars. So you can mow somebody's small yard for $30. It's a quick, easy $30. And certainly it takes a while to get all that money, but I'm going to be honest with you, this is not a process that's going to happen quickly. So, be in it for the long haul because it's going to be a long journey. But it will pay off in the end. And let me tell you, it is so, so sweet. I am so excited about it. But certainly there's a lot of things that you can do, to raise the money. Like I said, I think, try to avoid things like not paying your mortgage or, things that are just going to hurt you. Certainly that's something I did, so I can't, I'm no judge because I did it, but, try to see if you can find some other way. And there's a lot of ways. It's probably going to take your entire onboarding time, your full 6 to 8 weeks, maybe even longer, and you just have to stick it out. I got really frustrated because I wanted to have the money by the time I got my onboarding call. I wanted to be excited about being called, and instead I dreaded it. People were like, I can't wait till they call me. Come on, call me. And I'm like, don't call me. Don't call me yet. I'm not ready. I don't have the money. And of course, I was one of the first people in that time slot to get called. Go figure. But there's a lot of things that you can do. Fundraising, again, have a bake sale. You can do that. There was a consultant who actually approached me about doing a fundraiser. So consultants can do fundraisers where they donate a percentage of their profit to a charity or to you, because you're a charity. I'm a charity. I needed the money, so I'm a charity. And LuLaRoe will match whatever they donate. So that is a great way. So not only do you get to raise the money, but you also get to host a party, which is part of the learning process. So definitely something I would recommend if that's something that's available to you. Unfortunately, that didn't work out for me because she was only willing to do it if she could be my sponsor, and I already had a sponsor. So, but definitely fundraising is an avenue. So don't count that out. I mean, anything and everything you can do to make money is an option. So just to wrap it up, since I've gone on forever and ever, you can find a way. It may seem like it's never going to happen, but it will. And you will feel the stronger for it in the end. When you have to fight to get what you want, when you get it, doesn't it feel so much better? That you really had to work for it and it wasn't given to you. So, I didn't like the process. Certainly I wish it had been given to me, but I do feel better off for it because I really had to fight and work really, 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 really hard to get that money to onboard. And so now that I'm a consultant, I feel all the more determined to really go out there and kill it. And just become the best consultant I can possibly be. And it's not a competition, but in my mind, I'm competing because I want to be better. I want to prove to myself that I can be the best of the best. And that's just my mindset. So, but it is not a competition. We're not in competition. And certainly, I'm sharing this information with you because, it was a struggle for me and I don't want anybody else to have to struggle. Brainstorm, come up with a way. There is a way. If you can't think of anything or if you want some help brainstorming, do feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to help you. It's just a hard process and I want to really help anybody that I can. And having certainly talk to your sponsor. Hopefully you have a really great sponsor that you can bounce ideas off of, who's really supportive, because in this process with having to raise the money by unconventional means, you're going to need all the support you can get. I can't tell you how many times I complained and practically cried to my sponsor that, I never was going to make it. And I felt, so frustrated and like I wanted to quit. And you really do need a great sponsor who's going to stand behind you and hold your hand and say, girl, you're going to make it. Whatever we got to do, let's figure it out. We're going to do it. So certainly do feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to help you brainstorm and come up with some ideas of what you can do, what skills you have, because you do have them, to utilize to raise your onboarding funds. So now that we're wrapping this up after 40 minutes, sorry, I rambled. again, feel free to reach out to me, and I really hope that your onboarding journey is as easy as possible, and that you have all the success that I was able to get, and are able to raise the funds. And again, if you have any questions, I'm always here for you, and I really do want to help you to be able to begin this journey, because I think it's really exciting. I think we're all really excited to start, and certainly now that I'm onboarded and waiting on the inventory, I'm scrambling around doing a million other things, and I'm gonna do another video about what I'm doing now, to get ready, because that's even more stuff. You thought you were tired, now you're gonna be even more tired. Because now there's 10,001 things to do, but it's gonna be fun. So just hang in there, and let's come up with some great ways for you to make some money. Okay, all right, thanks, bye guys.